Different organizations was making anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 a day, just selling 20s.
In 1979, the DEA compiled its first internal list of top 10 traffickers in all of North America. Only one African American was on that list. His name was Reginald Doc Davis of Detroit, Michigan.
The YBI, they used to bring us $1 million a week, and the ponies would bring $1 million a week. You know, that's why, and I was introduced to connect to a young lady I knew. I was introduced to some Mexicans in Mexico. His name was Frank Morales. He was Federal Raleigh. He was the Mexican Federal Police. Durango, Culiacan in Durango.
The Davises were so big that they would mix product from Turkey, Mexico, and Thailand together by the kilos to get a special mix.
When I came back to Detroit in '79, we were working some major violators, and we kept seeing a type of heroin that had a distinctive marking that was showing up, and we did what was called in those days a signature.
We was getting stuff out of Bangkok. My brother was getting stuff out of Amsterdam, and I was getting stuff out of Pakistan, and we would take that stuff and we would mix it. Once you mix the number 4, the 97.4 pure, with the crude stuff, like the stuff out of Amsterdam and from Turkey, really, my brother was getting it from Turkey. And when you mix this stuff together, you lock the city down. Can't nobody else sell nothing until it's all gone.
And I saw a population of middle class to upward blacks. They had mansions, large homes.
A group of brothers who grew up in an actually affluent home at the very time Detroit was probably the best place in America to be black if you had the money to enjoy it.
It was 10, really 14, four half brothers and 10 biological. Well, my father, he was an intern extra decorator and he had his own contracting company. We moved here in 1963. We was a few blacks that lived here.
How many bedrooms?
It's 5 bedrooms, it's 3 levels.
Well, I probably would begin with the myth that the black community has never had economic strength, that segregation was good for us, and that we have never recovered from integration.
It was a close-knit family, but we had our uncles that was involved in the drug trade. That's who introduced us to the drug trade. At first, they didn't want us in the drug trade.
After the 1967 civil unrest and the long, slow decline of the auto industry picked up steam, Detroit became home to perhaps America's widest and most interesting and powerful menagerie of black gangsters.
My uncles inspired me because I used to see them go into Coffee Cadillac, and they used to walk in with cash, and they ride off with 3 Cadillacs. That impressed me. And then what really impressed me, when I saw him with all that money, I saw him with a pool table full of money from one end to the other, stacked high. And I couldn't understand where that money come. I was so young. And I thought money like that come from when you rob banks. And he said one day he was going to show me where that money come from, because he wanted me to go to college to be a lawyer, you know? And I couldn't understand that, like I told you yesterday. I couldn't understand that because they hadn't passed the 6th grade. But I understand it later what he was saying. He wanted me to become legitimate. He wanted me to become a professional and become a professional lawyer, and maybe that can help the family. So I had a pre-law course. Back then they had majors and minors. Okay, I was supposed to be a lawyer, but when I got to that fork in the road, instead of going to the right, I went to the left. I eventually left college. And I hid from my parents, I hid from my uncle, I hid from everybody. And I had rented a room down at 281 Erskine. I rented a room, and I started doing my own thing with another friend of mine who was my best friend, who is passed, God bless his soul. He passed. He used to use. I didn't know he used. Secretly he used, and he went to Ferris Whitby. He had a scholarship for playing golf.
So your whole social scene, your family, your friend's family wants to be like Detroit's black elite.
Yes. And I would see, we had so many family members. We really didn't really hang on the block or hang with the people. We party among ourselves. And if we did go out, we would go out with, I would have maybe 10 different goons with me when I went out, you know?
And your teenage years.
Yeah, my teenage year, like, yeah, I used to go to 20 grand sometimes to see the dramatics. I used to like the dramatics. In fact, I used to give them after parties after they performance. Because I had another place down at the Regent Square Apartments where Stevie Wonder lived downtown. And it was just a bachelor pad. And I would just have a party for them once they got through performing. It was the mixed jive days, the John I. Erskine. John Erskine was the marketplace for mixed jive. That's where everybody came. That's what Eddie Jackson was. Everybody was there. Mixed jive is a mixture of raw pea, quinine, and dolmens, and they come in a pack. And people used to come from all over Michigan to this area of John Erskine to purchase that. That was the marketplace for the users. The users would come there and they'd spend 20, but they would do this starting at early in the morning to late at night. And different organizations was making anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 a day.
Yeah, we right here on John Iron Erskine. Man, there was so many motherfucking bags up in here. I mean, a million blows. Robert Lucas, them motherfuckers out to Brewsters, the motherfuckers out to Jeffries. Everybody was right up in here. We had pink coin envelopes with China white stamped on it. That's when we first was getting the white dope out of New York. I was the first out of us YBI to come downtown. Me, Frankie D, and this dude down.
Huge amount of traffic. It was just crazy. It was just cars coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. The police might have been paid off because they wouldn't even mess with them. I mean, they even had the shooting galleries. We called shooting galleries back then, where you go and shoot the stuff. They would purchase the stuff down there. Some would shoot it down there, and some would leave and go to other suburbs. And we had it was a lot of people from all over coming. So all nationalities. 21 Earths, and I just had a room. And in that room, I had one girl staying in that room. And I used to have the customers come around to the window. And I had a guy who would my stuff was so good that I had a guy to keep them from a long line leading to that window. He would keep them at a bay, and he would get their money and bring it to the window, and the girl would slide the package through the window to them. I got supplied from the guy, my best friend, who used.
Oh.
I started off with a teaspoon.
Why did he have such a good supply?
He didn't know, wait a minute now, he didn't have a supply, he was a user. He gave me the game. I started off with 1 teaspoon. I went with 1 teaspoon and wound up selling keys. I guess I was about 18. About 17.
So you're at 18, you had 2 years of college under your belt.
Yeah, I had my social degree. I got my social degree. And
you had money from the street, and then your uncle takes you
to the connect. To his connect. It was his connect. He take him to his connect. And he introduced me to his connect. And so I spent the money I had, I spent it along with his money. And then what I did, instead of taking my money buying Cadillacs and girls and jewelry and all that, I kept putting my money back in. So eventually, I grew. Eventually, I was copping more than my uncle now. I went into the fame of having nice cars and the jewelry and hanging out. Although I used to have the Jaguars or Mercedes, and guys used to tease me and tell me that they say, "Look at Doc at that old man's car," because I was like 10 years ahead of everybody.
Oh, they were still doing the big Cadillac.
They were doing Cadillacs, Deuce and Quarters and all that. They didn't understand Jags, Mercedes, and all that.
So you're like 19.
I was ahead of everybody.
With the Jaguar. Doug, you said you bought a house at 17?
Yeah, I was about 18. I bought a house in Parma Woods, 1311 Belmore Drive. That was my first house I bought. I bought it from my attorney. He the one that built it, and I bought it. Zena should have a picture, boys.
Where's that? So at 18, you bought your lawyer's house in one of Detroit's most expensive neighborhoods.
Right, in Palmer Wood.
Okay, Doc, we're here in one of America's, I mean, it would be one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the entire United States, as people can see from the housing stock. We are in Detroit, and home prices are a little lower here than they should be, but this is a really important neighborhood, Palmer Woods. It has architecture from some of the most important architects of the 1920s, 50s, 70s, 80s, and this is a home that you bought.
In 72.
At what age were you?
By 18.
You bought this home in one of America's, back at that time, it still would have been one of the most expensive neighborhoods in America. And when you bought your house here, this neighborhood was more expensive than Beverly Hills.
Yes, sir, it was.
Facts.
Yeah.
And
Farmland back then, Beverly Hills, I mean...
how did you,
Oh, no, okay, yeah.
at the age of 18, who'd you buy this house from, and how'd you have the money to buy it? You were already hitting hard in the streets.
Right. Well, I bought it from my attorney, Samuel Barr. He was my corporate attorney, not my criminal attorney.
At the age of 18.
At the age of 18.
You were the corporate and a criminal attorney at
Yes,
18.
I did. Robert Mann was our personal criminal attorney, and Samuel Barr was our corporate attorney. They handle all our...
And you started having your first kids right not long after that.
Right. Reggie and Zena, Reggie Jr., was running for state rep now.
Reggie Reg, my cousin, your
Reg.
cousin, our cousin.
Right. He's
Your
running for
son?
state rep. He and Zena, they were both raised here.
And, you know, the elite of Detroit lived in here. Tell us about, like, who?
Sally stayed down the street.
John Sally.
Porterfield Wilson, who owned a big Ford dealership.
One of the largest black-owned car dealerships in the country.
He lived around the corner. A lot of
The Archdiocese of
Yeah.
Catholic Church.
David Ruffin had a house down the street. Some of the Motown people had homes here.
And then also the people running Ford, GM, Chrysler.
Yes, some of the executives of Ford and General Motors also stayed here.
Well, my uncles influenced him. He was influenced, should I say, by my uncle.
Did your uncle's looming presence of danger cast a umbrella of protection over you guys to some degree?
Well, yes. Yes.
Your uncles were
Their reputation is,
dangerous.
yeah,
And those were your mother's brothers.
right.
I would roll like 4 months and stop like 2 or 3 months because my stuff was so powerful till I would shut it down. Couldn't nobody do nothing until after we was out. So I wasn't a greedy guy. I never been a greedy guy. So I would I would leave and let other guys make money.
Period of time did kind of Dot go from starting to being a big deal, like a year fast, right?